Hey everybody, and welcome to Epic Everyday, our weekday podcast for busy, overwhelmed Christians who want to stop being busy and overwhelmed and to move into freedom and abundance and peace. I'm Liz First, and this is my husband Evan.
Hola.
This week we are talking about the holidays. They are coming.
Some may say they're looming.
Yes, it's like a run for your lives, the dam has broken.
James Thurber reference.
Yes.
The holidays.
Yes, the holidays, they're coming. So yesterday we talked about how to kind of preempt some of the stress by handling things sooner rather than later and having, letting go of perfection. So today we are going to talk about another preparatory kind of thing, getting in the right mindset.
That's right. Especially in light of unexpected plans. Because like we were talking about right before we hit record, like it seems like there's always something where, as much as you might try to plan ahead, some event, maybe a family member's thing or a church thing or just something that's like, oh, yeah, we're going to go caroling or we're going to go drive around for an hour and look at Christmas lights or make cookies or whatever it is. Something that's really neat and nice, but maybe you weren't necessarily planning on fitting it in.
Right. Or maybe there's something else that happens, like you go to the store and you're like, oh my goodness, they're completely out of turkeys.
Oh, sure.
Or, oh my goodness, they don't have this toy that I was planning on buying for my kid or whatever.
Or, maybe your kid gets sick. Or maybe you get injured.
Yes.
Maybe you fall off the roof.
We have done the let's have the flu over Christmas thing. That's always awesome. So, yeah.
And since today's all about surrender, you really, it's like, well, what choice do I have? I mean, we're not in control of a lot of that stuff.
Right. Well, and it's so crazy. Like we talked about yesterday with the holidays, there's this, you have to both be able to juggle all these preparations and have more hangout things going on. So you have more events, more preparations, and on top of that, you're supposed to be like super cheerful and kind of that, to be more spontaneous also.
Yeah, seems like
even when you have less time in your schedule.
Right. Seems like we always need more time and more money. And
more energy.
Yeah, and it's just hard to find sometimes, especially around the end of the year like this. One of the things why this steals our joy and our peace, though, is because once, at least for me, once it starts to get a little bit like, oh, I forgot about this thing and it's day after tomorrow, and then, oh, I forgot this other thing we're supposed to do next Saturday, it's really gets me into frantic mode and overwhelm mode, and then it's impossible to think about a creative solution.
Yeah, the stress kind of snowballs.
Yeah. Well, and once you're on that, like, lockdown mode, you're
fight or flight.
Yeah, you're kind of in fight or flight mode there. I'm not thinking creatively, and I'm not thinking with a very open mind. It's just like, well, I guess I better just do it, and then the holiday cheer is gone.
Yeah, I wrote down, like, what if we could get through the holidays with fun and cheer versus grim determination?
Just depends on the person. I mean,
I know. I was just thinking that I'm the wrong person to talk about this. I am.
Even you, though, once we get into this, the nice thing is, at least, hopefully, once we get into whatever it is, I mean, the preparation is always the hard part. And like, when are we going to fit this in? And then once we're like there, like there's this holiday pageant we like to go to.
Yeah, that's usually fun.
Tough to be like, well, are we going to invite somebody? Or are we just going to go? And what night are we going to go? And once you're there, all you got to do is watch it. And that's nice, And
I love driving around and looking at Christmas lights and drinking hot chocolate. And I even like eating Christmas cookies and Christmas candy. Not loads of it, but some of it.
Yeah.
And I like decorating the Christmas tree. You don't really like that part, but I do.
You know what I love is putting away the Christmas tree.
That's true.
That's all I think about.
Yeah. But, yeah, there are parts of the holidays that I like. I'm not a total 100% Scrooge.
No.
I'm
just talking about sometimes there's unexpected things that come up. So we're trying to roll with the punches in an attitude of surrender.
Exactly.
One thing I think that helps me surrender anyway, is because sometimes these things, I feel like they're putting the stretch on me. Like, like one of the part of the anxiety is like if it's a party or something. I'm not very outgoing, so it's like, oh, am I gonna have to perform at this? Not perform, but like, it's always
Right.
some
Chat.
acting involved. Yeah, the party conversation game. I just feel like I'm not very good at, and so it's like, well, I guess I'll give it a try, and but just part of surrendering to my personality. It's like, just show up and be yourself, dude, and it'll be fine. And trying to just, that's a form of acceptance and surrender that helps the situation. I also think it's good to accept, and I mean, you don't want to give yourself totally over to emotion, but there are up and down emotions big time during the holidays.
That's
and
true.
To acknowledge those and not be like, emotions, go over there in the corner and suck your thumb.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Like, if you're uncomfortable or angry or overwhelmed with joy and whatever and rapture, I mean, that's fine. Try to
Right.
do those things. I mean, we don't want to get swept away, obviously, but
Yeah, but definitely not being like, okay, this is the holidays, so I can only feel cheerful.
right.
So if I feel disappointed with something, or if something stressful happens with your family,
And some
or
people get depressed, and so acknowledging
yeah,
that in yourself, and maybe if you have some friends that.
holidays are really hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's like a time with a lot of grief.
Yeah. Well, especially if you've
So,
lost someone, somebody. So being real with those loved ones or friends that have lost, I mean, that's a valuable time too. It doesn't all have to be Christmas carols. And
right.
that's
Yeah,
surrender.
being able to just sit with those people really makes a difference. I really love how surrender comes after calm. I know we talk about this every so often, but I was just thinking how, it's so much easier for me to be able to surrender and just be like, okay, Lord, I'm going to trust you to take care of whatever happens when I know that I've already been faithful to do the stuff that I'm supposed to do. Like we were talking about yesterday, if you do all your Christmas shopping by November and you take that off your plate, it's much easier to just kind of roll with the punches of December.
Yeah, because that's a big time consumer.
Right. Or if you, like one of the things we were talking about this week was writing down our list of, and the dates of when different things are happening that we know our kids are going to want to do.
Yeah.
So if it's like, okay, we're going to do a horse-drawn carriage ride, when are the dates for that? Because they
Right.
have free ones around here.
Yeah, get it on our calendar. We need to do that by that weekend. Just so we all know what's coming up and
Right.
when it is. Some of the stuff you just got to be like, well, let's just do it on that day.
Right.
And then then that's the plan now. So we can make those plans and that helps. But we also need to trust that God has a plan. I mean, we're talking about
definitely.
unexpected stuff. So those are things we can plan ahead for. But yeah, like say you get sick the day before the big thing you're going to go do or whatever, like part of the surrender is, okay, God, I don't know what's going on. I thought I had a perfect plan and I planned my entire November, December down to the minute, and now it's all messed up.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of that balance between like, you make a plan and hold it with an open hand.
That's very
Make a
important.
plan, be faithful to that plan, but then also leave room for the Lord to do whatever. Because maybe what He wants to do for our lives this Christmas is something really different. Maybe this holiday season He wants us to reach out to somebody, or maybe we're supposed to build, a relationship that we already have in a different way. And one of the things that I do love about the holidays is that it can spark a lot of interesting conversations, because the holidays
Yeah.
are so different for different people. And as someone who is somewhat of a Scrooge, who has a lot of negative feelings associated with the holidays, when I find people that are in that same place and we can talk about how traumatic the holidays were growing up, and just like it just creates such an amazing connection and such an opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
Like, the holidays stir up all this junk, but it feels awful, but it also is an opportunity to be like, okay, well, let's deal with some of those things. Kind of like what we're going to end up talking about on Thursday with connection. We have all this time with our family, which is going to, by definition, cause stress, because you have human people together, rubbing up against each other, bringing out each other's worst under stressful circumstances. And so it's an opportunity for growth.
Yeah. And if everybody shows up looking for those kinds of opportunities, I mean, and you can't control what everybody's doing, but you can control
Right.
what you're doing. I can control what I'm doing. And if I go into there looking for the chances to connect,
Yeah, and
being open
surrendered
myself.
to, right.
Yeah.
What is the Lord doing? Okay. And knowing that, a huge part of surrender is knowing that God has a good plan. Like he has a good plan for your life and for our lives this holidays.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, it's a good plan. And so we can surrender.
I think when we're fully engaged like that, like you were saying, we can also respond better when new additions to our schedule pop up. We can say yes or no with confidence.
Right.
Or, yeah, I really do want to do that. Or, you know what, I just don't think I have time to do that this year.
Yeah.
And that's a good place to be, to actually say what you mean when you say yes or no to something.
Right. And I love the fact that, we are at the beginning of the holidays here. So we have the opportunity right now to say, okay, Lord, please do what's best for the holidays this year. Like we can surrender the holidays now. We can definitely surrender it when we're in the middle of it, but
Yeah.
it's so nice to be reminded ahead of time that, oh yeah, we can do that right now.
That's right. I think it's important to realize, because I get caught up in this too, and I think a lot of people do. You see a lot of movies with this as kind of a major story point, is trying to make this Christmas either the best one ever or just like it was when you were a kid or 20 years ago or something. Like trying to recreate something, and it's never recreatable. And it's never it's never the best one ever. I mean, it might be, I guess. You don't really, but that's the goal. Those are bad goals. Those are stress factory goals.
Right, yeah.
And so, however much involved in yeah, and things you can't control kind of contribute to those things. I mean, the good
Right.
memories, maybe, like I have a good memory of, like, I'm not much of a singer, but our church when I was a kid used to go Christmas caroling. And as we were thinking about the show, that's something I would never choose. Like, you know what, guys, let's go. We're going to go Christmas caroling. But this church did it, and that was a fond memory for me.
I remember doing that too.
That, yeah. And so it's an opportunity to go see some of the older people that can't come to church anymore, or people who are sick or whatever, or just whatever, a pleasant surprise for somebody. And I get to see these adults, I get to interact with them in a different way than normal. Maybe I just see them on church on Sunday in their nice clothes or whatever. And then here we are all bundled up and driving around and caroling at people. And it's like,
Caroling at
people. Yep. And so even though I would have never been like, what would be really great is to go caroling.
Yeah.
It's a good memory now. And so that can happen anytime.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's like camping trips. The ones that you remember most are the ones that are like total
where
disasters.
Something happens.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You almost get eaten by bears. Yeah. Stuff like that.
Yeah. So the things that will make this Christmas real, we believe, are the CSCs. And if you move into the next couple of months with those attitudes,
both Christmas
ready to go,
and Thanksgiving.
and New Year's and Valentine's Day, whatever,
Hanukkah.
they all come up.
Yes, but I mean, there's a lot of holidays, like the end of November through December.
That's right.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys can think about that a little bit. Us too, that, we can take time now to surrender the holidays to the Lord and then go into it with an attitude of a plan that's held with an open hand.
Yeah, I think that's the key. And expectations at the right level. I mean, I think that really has to do with the open hand too. It's like, we're not going to try to recreate something that doesn't really exist anymore. Like we talked about last week, sending your mind into the past or the future. Mm-hmm. It's just going to have this Christmas, this Thanksgiving, this time with family this year. And it's going to be all right.
Definitely. We love you guys, and we are praying for you. I hope that you have an awesome Tuesday.
Yeah, and rest of the week. And thank you for listening to the show. If you like it, can you tell your friends about it and give us a review on iTunes?
Yes, that would be very helpful, because the more people that are living in the CSCs, we believe that the healthier the body of Christ is all together.
Yeah, and this show is our attempt to put out there things that have improved our spiritual life so much, and our relationship with each other and all of our friends, and our in our church, and we want the information out there to as many people as possible. Tomorrow we're going to talk about identity and God's view of who you are. And sometimes that gets a little convoluted when you hang around with your blood family. Sometimes they don't reinforce God's idea of who you are, and sometimes they do. But the main thing we want to be connected to is God's idea of who we are, because He made us.
So come back if that's a topic you're interested in.
Yeah, we'll see you then.